You'll see a number of windows on my screen here. And first, on the right-hand side, there's the browser internet version of the GitHub_toot repo. And you'll see that I have a data file in there, some decennial census data, and also the github.py file, as well as the solution to that if you want to use that to quickly focus on the GitHub process rather than figuring out the pandas solution to the code. And as we did before, we use GitHub desktop on the lower left-hand side here to clone this repo. And you remember that when last we were in the desktop app, we switched the branch to the new branch that I created, which is called new branch_GDS. On my system, GitHub saves its files in the D drive under a folder GitHub, and since Git demo session is my second user identity on GitHub, it puts my repos for that username under its own folder. This is definitely by default going to be different for you. It's likely that your GitHub folder is going to be on the C drive, probably somewhere under your users folder, and check particularly in the document subfolder of your user folder to see if it's there. Otherwise, you can quickly search for GitHub. So this is where I'm going to go to get the github.py file that I'm going to edit. So here I am in Spider, and let me open up that github.py file. And you'll notice that I also opened up the solution file because I'm going to take a shortcut here and rely on that solution again so I can focus on the GitHub process. So what we have in this file we have a bunch of statements down at the bottom of the code that use a dataframe.apply method to create 5 new columns that have to do with FIPS codes, tract IDs from the GeoID field, the name of the county, the name of the state, and the number of the track from another column. And the way that the dfapply function works is that it relies on another function that you have defined, in this case geoparse city tract, or let's take a look at the first one, which is complete. A function called geoid_parse_county_FIP, which is up here. And what the apply method does is take the rows of the data frame, row by row, and sends a row to the function. That row is just like a data frame in that you can use square brackets in the name of a column to get data out of it, which in this case is from the ID field, which is a geographical identifier. And in order to get the county FIPS code, I noticed that it was in columns 9 through 13, and so I used the slice here in order to get it back. Get back to FIPS code. A similar thing applies trying to get out of that same ID field the county tract, or the tract within the county. And there's more details on the data in the code here in another link that I've given you. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the solution file, and I'm going to copy the code that provides a solution, which is essentially the last 5 characters in the ID field. And so I've changed the function GeoID parse county track, and so now I should go down here if I want to create a new column and uncomment the statement that has the apply method in it that refers to that function. I'm going to save my code, and I should run it here to make sure that it works. and it does. And let's just check the columns. And you can see that the column that I just worked on, the new column is called tracked_GeoID, and there it is. So we successfully created a column. Of course, I should go in there and take a look and make sure that everything looks okay. And those look like valid 5-character county FIP or tracked FIPS codes. So it looks like we're in good shape here. I've already saved the file. So now I want to go back to the desktop, and the desktop GitHub desktop is going to show me the changes that I made. For example, I took out this comment and put in something that would actually function, and it shows me here that a line that was deleted in red was a comment, and I took the comment out and basically saved the rest of the line. So this shows the difference before and after that I made. The first thing that I need to do now is I need to commit this change to the new branch that I've created on my computer. And think of this as just a save operation. This says, yes, I really want to save these changes. And so we're going to click down here on the commit to new branch _GDS. I'm only changing one file here, and so what I've highlighted here is a memo field that describes what the change is. In this case, if you're only changing one file, GitHub comes up with a pretty good memo. You could put more detail in it if you want. For this demo, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to commit the changes in the code to my computer. And now the code in my computer has changed, and the code on my computer in the new branch _GDS is different than the code that's on the internet repo. And so what I need to do to start the process of integrating my code in with the code on the internet, I have to click on this push origin. And basically what that does is that takes my branch code and writes over the branch code that is visible on the internet repo. So now we have a main branch, we have the new branch _GDS that I have some changes in, and I've checked it and they work. So what we want to do at this point is probably to integrate the code change I made in the new branch _GDS with the main branch. And in order to do that, we click on this button that says create pull request. And what this does is it sends a message to the web repo, and in particular the owner of the repo, and says, hey, somebody is contributing some code. You should take a look at it and decide if you want to merge it or integrate it in with the main branch. So I'm going to click on that. And this takes me to the internet repo, the repo in the cloud, where I actually have to click on create pull request a second time, which I'll do. I'm not going to leave a comment, but if I wanted to leave a comment for the repo owner, I could do it right there. So create pull request. And the first thing that GitHub does is it checks to make sure that the changes can be easily made. And that is the case here because there are, it says no conflicts. So at this point, we haven't restricted who can do the next step, which is the merge pull request. And normally it might be the owner of the repo, and so we're going to let the owner of the repo do the next step. So we're going to stop right there, and we'll pick it up with the next set of bullets.